Well, good morning and welcome to Bible Study Live with me, Colin Points. I'm the pastor of Winslow Christian Fellowship, and this is the session, the hour or so, where you get to basically look over my shoulder and watch me studying the Bible in preparation for Sunday morning. In many ways, it's not rocket science, it's just looking at the words and saying, what does that mean? But then there's things that I guess I've picked up over the years that might help you as you look at the passage, or as you do your own Bible studies. You might be able to pick something up. You might also just feel that you're better prepared if you're going to watch the Sunday service when I'm going to preach my sermon, that you've had a chance to watch me and see the way my brain is working through these questions and things. So I've been off for a week, so I'm back again, and today we're looking at Mark chapter 7 verses 24 to 30. So I'll read that now and then we'll get stuck in to this passage. And from there he arose and went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and did not want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. But immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, and came, and fell down at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile, a Syro-Phoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." But she answered him, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." And he said to her, "For this statement you may go your way, the demon has left your daughter." And she went home and found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. Well, this is a fascinating passage, really, isn't it? It's one of those strange ones where you think, what's Jesus getting at here? Because he's really offensive. It's not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. That's caused this woman who's come and asked him for her help, for his help. He's calling her a dog. It's racist because it's not just, why is she called a dog? Because she's not a Jew. So on the face of it anyway, it seems racist, but I think obviously with Jesus there's more going on than meets the eye. And we know that from the context of his ministry. There's more about Jesus than these, than you think when you see these things. So let's go to the notes. Might end up having one of these things where there we go. I'm just hoping that every so often my Bible study software is quite intensive on the graphics and things, and every so often it crashes. And thankfully that's not happened to me while I've been doing one of these Bible study lives, but I'm aware that it might happen one day. Right, so from there he arose. From where? What have we just been doing? We've been talking to the Pharisees. I think that was the last passage. Talking to the Pharisees, and then to the people, and then to the disciples, and talking about the hand washing and other legalistic rules that the Pharisees felt was so important and Jesus did not. So Jesus has just been talking to the Pharisees who criticised his disciples for not ceremoniously washing their hands. Then to the crowd, then to the disciples, all about the legalistic rules which were important to the Pharisees. But Jesus is more interested in the heart. Now I think it's significant that one of the things the Pharisees did was use those rules as a dividing line between them and non-Jews. That was really important for the Pharisees. And that might be a significant thing as a backdrop, that straight after having this debate with the Pharisees, who think, yep, we're better than the Gentiles and the rules tell us so, and he's saying, well, no, it's not about the rules, it's about the heart, and immediately then he's coming into contact with Gentiles. Pharisees saw the rules as important, partly because the rules, they separated the Jews from the Gentiles, who they saw as lesser beings, like dogs. Let's have that as the background. So this passage follows on straight after that incident. There he arose and went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon. Though it wouldn't have been immediate, because there was a journey involved. So there's a bit of a, this is Mark choosing to put those two stories together. He probably could have included stories from the journey up to Tyre and Sidon. And could have chosen other stories when Jesus was in Tyre and Sidon, I'm sure. But he chose these stories to put together as a kind of one following the other, because I think there's that connection. Jesus is behaving a bit like a Pharisee in this story, and I wonder why. Tyre and Sidon. So I think this is good to look at a map. There's Tyre. Image. Can you make this image bigger? If I open that in a floating window. Don't know if that's much better for you, but it's definitely better for me. So we've got the Sea of Galilee there, where a lot of Jesus's work took place. There's Capernaum. That's the Decapolis. That's where where Jesus met Legion, and then he came back, and a lot of the stuff that he's done has taken place around there. And then he went back to his hometown, didn't he? Nazareth. So when it says Tyre and Sidon, there's a whole region here called Tyre, and then there's a city up there called Tyre. So I wonder, is he talking regionally when it says Tyre and Sidon? Just dock that tab again. Have a look at another map. So again, we've got Tyre. Phoenicia is called here, the region. A region on the east coast of the Mediterranean. But where's Sidon? I know Sidon's generally around here somewhere. Oh, there's Tyre, and then no mention of Sidon. basically, I guess, there is Sidon, yeah, so Tyre and Sidon is further north. But basically we're getting out of the heartland of Jewish territory into and there's a caption there. Jesus travels to Tyre and Sidon, where he cures the afflicted daughter of a Syro-Phoenician woman, and the map shows him going to the city of Tyre. But I wonder if that's actually where he went, and how you can go to both Tyre and Sidon. Okay, so Tyre and Sidon are two cities to the north, outside of the Jewish heartland, and in territory that is essentially dominated by Gentiles. So Jesus is doing something quite radical, I guess. Going off to Tyre and Sidon. And it says, and he entered a house and did not want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. So why did he not want anybody to know? He went into a house, but wanted to keep it secret. Why did he want to keep it secret? Was it because the house belonged to a Gentile? It's a theory. Or was it just because he wanted to do his work without being swamped by people looking for miracles. Have a look into that. Yet he could not be hidden, despite his efforts to keep it secret. People found out he was there. Right, so verse 25 says, but immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell down at his feet. So, just as he probably feared, someone came looking for a miracle, specifically for a demon to be cast out. This woman came to him because of her daughter who had the unclean spirit. I wonder if we're supposed to pick up on the fact that it's another daughter. Jesus has helped out daughters before, including the daughter of Jairus, the synagogue ruler. Says Jairus is everything you're supposed to be. He's a Jew, and he's got status in the synagogue. So his daughter was dying, and Jesus was reluctant to help him. No, not reluctant. Jesus wasn't reluctant, but he allowed himself to be distracted by another woman who people would probably think, oh no, she's not important. But Jesus gave her time, and to the extent that Jairus' daughter died. But then he raised her from dead. Now we've got somebody who is far from being a Jew and from being somebody of status, far from being everything you should be within that Jewish culture. This is a Syro-Phoenician woman. I was supposed to pick up on the fact that this is another daughter, like with Jairus, but from a completely different kind of person. Question mark. The woman is desperate enough to fall at Jesus's feet, which I imagine is not easy. Humbled herself. Okay, verse 26. Now the woman was a Gentile, a Syro-Phoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. Not a surprise that she's a Gentile in considering where this is. Syro-Phoenician, so she's by birth, it says. Does that mean she might have become a Jew? She is, what's the NIV say about her? Syrian Phoenicia. The woman was a Greek born in Syrian Phoenicia. Phoenicia, which is part of Syria, I believe. That's what it means, Syrian Phoenician, Syro-Phoenicia. She begged Jesus, which just confirms her sense of despair. This is her daughter we're talking about, and desperation. You do whatever you need to do, whatever you have to do for the sake of your children. That's why she's come to Jesus. That's why she's on her knees. That's why she's begging him. Say on her knees. She fell down. I don't know if she's on her knees or on her face. I don't know. So there's a desperation there, and almost a despairing. Perhaps she's given up. She's got nothing else that she can do with her daughter. And then verse 27, and he said to her, let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. Oh dear. Why did he say that? On the face of it, Jesus is telling the woman that because she's not a Jew, she is less important. He's making it sound like he came only to help the Jews and not the Gentiles, because the Gentiles are like dogs, who are considered to be not important. Now where's that city? I was hearing an interview about a film, a documentary that's coming out about stray dogs. It's called Stray, and it's focusing on a particular city. I can't remember which country it is, but it's a country that has made it illegal to hurt stray dogs or to imprison stray dogs. So the stray dogs are given equal rights in the street, which is pretty amazing, because that's just not something that you see anywhere else in the world. I don't know why they passed that law, but yeah, even today in a country like ours that has really strict rules about not harming animals, you wouldn't treat strays like equal citizens, but they're really not. You know, they're allowed to do whatever they like, it sounds like. Anyway, so dogs, they're not important, are they? In this society particularly, in our society, they're treated much better, but in Jewish society, I think they're like really low down. So, Jesus appears to be saying that he won't help this woman because of her race. We know that can't be what he means, because he has been to Gentile territory before. E.g. Decapolis, where he cast out Legion. Also, why else would he have travelled to Tyre and Sidon if he didn't think the people here matter? That's probably the most compelling reason. Why else would he come to Tyre and Sidon if he didn't think the people here matter? Of course they matter. That's why he came. But he seems to be giving the impression in the way, on the face of what he's saying, look, I'm a Jew, just like those Pharisees, which means that I should treat you like a dog. Why is he saying that? He's obviously drawing her out. So Jesus is drawing the woman out, provoking a response from her. And her response is not to argue with his assessment of her as a dog, but to argue that even dogs get some good stuff. In this case, she picks up on the illustration or the analogy of bread, and says that as a dog she could eat the crumbs. That fall to the floor. Now, I believe in the 5-second rule. I actually believe in a 10-second rule. Drop something on the floor, it's still alright to eat. But crumbs, would I sweep them up and eat them? I mean, crumbs are just too... I guess it's because crumbs have got a very large surface area to volume ratio that they become as much dust and dirt as they do crumbs if they've been on the floor. No one wants to sweep up crumbs and then eat them along with all the other, I suppose, yeah. This is a bit like the gleaning rule that was in place in Israel. Landowners were to leave the gleanings as they harvested their crops, so that the poor could pick them up. It's a form of charity. Yes, the temptation as you're harvesting is to pick up every last straw of crop that falls to the ground, but the Jewish law said no. If you're a landowner, as you're harvesting your land, if you're a farmer, leave the bits that fall to the ground so that as the poor come along, they've got something that they can pick up and that they can survive. And that's how Ruth survived, by gleaning, in the story of Ruth. And Ruth was Moabite, not a Syrian, not a Phoenician, Moab, which would be, I think, somewhere down south. So not connected, and yet maybe it is connected a little bit. Maybe. I have to think about that. Yes, Lord, yet, Lord, yet, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. Eat the children's crumbs. That's interesting. It's not just, let the children be fed first. Children do tend to be messy, don't they? Oh, that's a good story, yeah. Oak Hill, crumbs and brush story. If you want to know about the Oak Hill crumbs and brush story, tune in on Sunday, and I'm sure I will tell that one. That'll be good. Even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. That's why you have a dog, I suppose, isn't it? This is why you have a dog. To clear up a mess that gets dropped by the children when they eat dinner. And he said, right, verse 29. And he said to her, for this statement you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter. Well done. Said the right thing. But what? You ever done something and it worked, and you can't work, you don't know why it worked? I wonder if this woman feels the same way. What did I say that was so clever or so right? Was it the cleverness of it, or was it the humility of it? Jesus liked her answer, and because of that he gave her what she wanted. What was it he liked? Because it was clever, humble, insightful, i.e. she understood Jesus and his mission to the whole world. What else? What is it? There's clever, there's humble. What is it about that answer? Even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. Persistent. He's talked elsewhere about how important it is to be persistent in prayer. The persistent widow who gets justice from the unjust judge. For this statement you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter. That's it, straight away. It doesn't have to even do anything. It's already done. It's already done. Jesus says she can go because it's already done. The demon had already left her daughter. He didn't need to be there. He didn't need to say anything. It just happened as Jesus said it would happen. And then verse 30, confirmation. And she went home and found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. This is the confirmation verse. La, 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 la. The woman went home and found her daughter was fine. The demon had gone just as Jesus said it would be. So he's powerful, he's able to cast out a demon just like that. But this question of why does he do what he, why does he say what he said? This is one of those passages where you just have to sit there chewing it over until you kind of think, you maybe see something, you realise, oh! And it's in the context of having just spoken to the Pharisees, who very much see themselves as separate, better, cut off from the Gentiles. They would tell the woman she was a worthless dog, and they would mean it. So why does Jesus adopt that attitude, even if he was only teasing or pretending? Answers on a postcard. I'm going to have another look back here and just read the whole thing through, because I think this is the beginning of a section, chapter 7. We get to the end of a section here. There's a summary where at the end of chapter 6 Whenever he came in villages, cities, or countryside, they laid the sick in marketplaces and implored him that they might touch even the fringe of his garment, and as many as touched him were made well. This is sort of summarising the end of the big healing and casting out demons section. And so that's why, although this is a story of a demon being cast out, it's not a straightforward story of that. It's a story about Jesus' relationship with non-Jews, and that begins with this section here and then follows straight into chapter 6. So let's read from chapter 7 running straight into the Syro-Phoenician woman. Now when the Pharisees gathered to him with some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem, they saw that some of his disciples ate with hands that were defiled, that is, unwashed. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands properly, holding to the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many other traditions that they observe, such as the washing of cups and pots and copper vessels and dining couches. And the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands? And he said to them, Well did Isaiah prophesy of you, hypocrites, as it is written, This people honours me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. You leave the commandment of God and hold to the tradition of men. And he said to them, You have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God, in order to establish your tradition. For Moses said, Honour your father and your mother, and whoever reviles father or mother must surely die. But you say, If a man tells his father or his mother, Whatever you would have gained from me is korban, that is given to God, then you no longer permit him to do anything for his father or mother, thus making void the word of God by your tradition that you have handed down. And many such things you do. And he called the people to him again and said to them, Hear me all of you and understand, there is nothing outside a person that by going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile him. And when he had entered the house and left the people, his disciples asked him about the parable, and he said to them, Then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from outside cannot defile him, since it enters not his heart but his stomach, and is expelled? Thus he declared all foods clean. And he said, What comes out of a person is what defiles him. For from within, out of the heart of man, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within, and they defile a person. From there he arose and went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and did not want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. But immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, and came and fell down at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile, a Syro-Phoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he said to her, Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. But she answered him, Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. And he said to her, For this statement you may go your way, the demon has left your daughter. And she went home and found the child lying in bed, and the demon gone. Okay, so there's nothing explicit in that passage about the Pharisees, about regarding outsiders and Jews and Gentiles, but it definitely follows on, and from there he arose, went to the region of Tyre and Sidon. It just feels like he's going away from the Pharisees and everything they represent. He's going to a place that they would hate. He's into a house secretly and meeting a woman who they would reject. And she says, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. I just think it's a statement of his mission. The Pharisees have said, let's hunker down on the Jewish traditions, and he's saying, let's go out there and win the Gentiles. Let's go and bless the Gentiles. Let's go and feed the Gentiles. Everything that would make a Pharisee livid. After this, he's going to go and heal a deaf man back in Galilee and in the region of the Decapolis, which is back to another Gentile type area. And we've got the feeding of the 4,000 after that. Now, is that still in the Decapolis? So that would be interesting, because he's repeating a big miracle, the feeding of the 5,000. He's repeating it now, but it's a different number of people, and in Gentile territory. That is fascinating. That's where this is going, perhaps. Okay, I'm going to finish there. I hope that you found this helpful. If you're watching this in 1.5 times speed, then well done for getting through it and super fast. I'm going to finish there. See you on Sunday. Take care and all the best. Bye.